you could almost say that there are 4 levels of commitment. You got outcome, output, input, income. This week we explored a couple of different writing strategies that we're trying to figure out if we want to use. Some we think will be helpful, some might not be. So we're going to talk about those and what goes into us making the decision of whether or not we think a strategy is helpful for us.
This weekend, I spent some time working on a scene, the same opening prologue scene that I have been working on for a very long time. For a while, I had been going to the library to spend time in that environment. So I've been experimenting with some different environmental strategies. But the specific strategy I was working on last night in preparation for today was the idea of, it's something that I learned from Jerry Jenkins, that he will take each writing day and begin with rewriting yesterday's and then work on writing new for today, knowing that tomorrow I will rewrite helps avoid some of the, I have to get it perfect right now. I can just put it down and I know that I'm not going to forget what I'm doing because tomorrow, if I have a better way, I think of tomorrow, I will be able to rewrite. I tried that last night, and what I found was that I was able to make incremental improvements in what I had written over the weekend. And then I didn't have much time left at the end of the day to write much new. So I'm not quite sure yet what I think about that approach. I think there's some positives and negatives that are worth exploring.
And I think it could be even more beneficial if you have an entire day dedicated to writing as opposed to just an evening.
Or even a multi-hour block, which I did not have last night.
Right. But one of the things that we're kind of adjusting in the way that we go about setting goals for ourselves is we want to get away from milestone-based deliverables. So instead of saying, we're going to write X number of words or we're going to write this scene, it's more committing to spending time on it so that way we're not forcing ourselves to write just to get to just to reach the goal, but we're writing to actually get down quality stuff.
Right, because one of the conversations that we were having was about what our goal is for this novel. Many people, the goal is, I want to have ink on paper by X date. Mm-hmm. And that is the primary driver for their work. In a lot of my coaching, I talk about the difference between lagging indicators of success and leading indicators of success. Our long-term indicator of success that we have put even on the tagline of our YouTube channel is to become New York Times best-selling authors. And while that goal may or may not survive depending on how much each of us wants to make writing part of our future, seeing the quality level as the goal versus the how many books we are able to publish as the goal shifts how we think about our approach to writing strategies.
And one area that I think this might be different for me than for you, and we've talked about this a bit in the past, is the way that we approach our writing commitments. Mm-hmm. And for me, when I set a goal for myself, I do that keeping in mind the other responsibilities that I have, and I give myself a goal that I know I'll be able to reach. And then I go and reach that goal. And if I set myself a smaller goal, then I don't really go beyond that either, though. So one of the things that I'll need to do is figure out how to keep myself committed to putting in the work without having those milestone-based deliverables. Because I think if all I say is, I will work on it, then I'll put in a little bit of work, but not really enough to make significant progress. So that's something that I personally am going to need to figure out how to avoid the two pits on either side of not doing anything or doing things that aren't the most beneficial.
And I think what I'm hearing now, there's the three different types of goals or commitments, I should say, three different types of commitments we can make. We can make an outcome commitment, which is the quality level. We can make an output commitment, which is I'm going to get this scene written. And we can make a process commitment, which could be I'm going to dedicate my Saturday afternoon and my Monday evening and reserve. These are the time blocks that I am going to commit to writing with as much focus as I can muster and to reflecting on how I focused and thinking about how I might be able to do things better. So that's kind of the process level commitment that I'm prepared to make.
You could almost say that there are 4 levels of commitments. You got outcome, output, input, income.
Whoa. Okay.
That might be too much, though.
Wow. What happened to process? Is that in the middle there?
I would see process as the same as input. It's what you're putting into.
Okay.
But just so that way it matches,
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's symmetrical.
Symmetric. There we go.
Yeah. Income goals. They're way out.
Yeah. And that's a whole lot harder to measure,
right?
Because it's so far out there.
The ultimate lagging indicator.
Yes.
Okay.
So with all that that rabbit trail that we went off on, what is your writing strategy? How do you go about? Is it output? Is it outcome? Is it process? What do you think of the writing strategy of write versus rewrite? Do you use that? Do you use something different? What is your writing strategy? Let us know in the comments, and we will see you next week.